The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
If you're building or buying or selling a home, the Real Estate Crew's got news for you at the Real Estate House Party.
With attorney Rick Carter,
Real Estate House Party.
paralegal Kathy Holtshouser,
Real Estate House Party. Come in, have fun.
and comedian Tony V. Now, here's real estate attorney Rick Carter.
Welcome.
And
Thank you.
no.
Come on, get it right.
And thanks for
joining us here on the Real Estate House Party.
You wanted to take over that segment forever, and you
I know,
can't
I'm gonna
drop the ball.
No, I was putting my own little spin on it.
Now, you notice on Tony's introduction, there's like more of a delay. And
he goes, and here is the star of
we're
the
like
show.
waiting and waiting and waiting.
No, it's just they're not sure if I'm going to show up.
You might need
Okay.
those
Yeah,
extra couple seconds.
You don't know.
Good point.
You don't know. We suspect he'll be here, but you never know what that nitwit.
Why? Because you came in at 12:27 today?
Yeah.
Technically, you were downstairs buying cigars.
Well, I was talking cigars.
Well,
Okay.
that's what stars do anyway. Don't
Yeah.
they keep their people waiting?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I shouldn't be here for another 45 minutes.
We're still
That's
going
what,
to
I've been, that's what I've been trying to do at work.
yeah.
Is like,
Oh, yeah.
they're
You-
like, is Kathy showing up today?
Kathy,
Or-
if you don't get the star treatment at work, I don't know what's wrong
It's
with
not
that
for 45
organization.
minutes, too. It's each day. It's not worried about. And speaking of keeping people waiting,
Yeah.
we got to introduce John Ternullo
I
from
know,
the Leading
thanks
Edge
for coming
Real Estate.
back.
He needs
Thanks
no
for having me.
introduction.
He needs no introduction at
No,
all.
he's a titan.
He's a titan of the real estate
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask you questions
We got a lot
today,
of questions.
John.
all right.
Thank you. We got to thank John for
And
coming to our
thanks for having
me.
board class.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great
Drove all
class.
the way down.
I have to say, I can't wait to pretend to be interested.
I appreciate that.
He's going to
I
the
don't
beach.
do it for everybody. I do not do it for everybody.
So if you're awake,
yeah.
you're doing okay.
If I'm up, if I'm prone and mostly
I'm
looking
right.
forward.
So the special guests,
Yeah.
you pretend you're interested.
yes, of course.
The other ones, you just don't even
the
pretend.
other ones, I just have foolishness
No,
bouncing
so
around
far
in
we've
my
had
head.
some interesting people on
Well,
Yeah,
in our
this is great.
back
Yeah.
from
John,
COVID.
John is going to continue
Keep
with
that
that.
going.
Yeah.
John, what do you think of Tony V's performance? People keep asking me when is he going to start doing more seminars with us.
I think he
Wasn't
makes
he
the
good?
seminar. Yeah.
That's just what I'm looking for. More free work.
Me too.
Yes. Oh, it wasn't free, by the way. Ricky Carter, for all your law needs, Ricky Carter's the man.
What was the
What
guy?
did you get, a free hamburger?
What was the guy in
No.
the 70s or 80s did the commercial of the real estate? He used to have all the the 9 girls behind him. He'd be in the boat. I can't remember the guy's name, but he used to do the seminars. I think he's probably.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
Remember that one?
He was a young-looking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he always. I think that's really funny that anyone who wants to tell you that they're well off, they always have 9 women
Right,
in the
they got the
background.
women behind you.
with
which-
the
which seems to
Yeah,
the sailor
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the
supposedly
captain's
validates
hat.
your
Yeah.
business
Yeah,
plan
yeah.
Can
by
I just
having
say
the 9
this?
women behind you, right?
I got one, and that's enough. I don't know where these people get off with 8, 9,
And why do you
10.
think they're so
And
special?
Yeah, dude, you just upped your quotient of anxiety greatly.
Ninefold.
Nice.
No, you're right. So
I don't know how
you're supposed to
Mormons do it.
correlate if you have 9 good-looking women behind you, you do well in real estate, right?
But
I think
why?
I missed that
Why?
commercial.
I did too.
Why?
Oh, you guys are too
We
young.
weren't.
Why?
We weren't born.
You-
Why?
too
Because
young.
you can afford women. I don't understand how that.
Well, have you dated lately?
No.
All right, then. All right.
What do you know about dating?
I'm just saying, 9 women, they would,
Yeah, that
they would
would
have
probably-
your head spinning.
Are you kidding me? I wouldn't know who to apologize to first.
Nobody. No apology necessary.
So we got a lot of questions for
yeah.
John to know. First of all,
wait.
Yeah,
What's John up to these days?
Well, that's
Every
what we're
time he
gonna find.
comes, he's
Yeah.
got a new title, or the
He's-
business is
title?
expanded, or you've
he's
taken
just
over the
well, what did you call
Western
him?
Hemisphere.
The mogul of real estate.
Yeah.
He's a great real estate agent.
Yeah.
And he seems to know a lot about the market.
Yeah.
And he always has some tips that I don't want to ask him about because we don't want him to
No,
share
yeah,
all his
he'll leave right now.
share all this personal.
And what's the name of your outfit?
The Ternullo team
Yeah.
at Leading Edge Real Estate.
Yeah.
He didn't even want to tell us that. This is a common theme for us guys. So the other part of John's success is his beautiful wife, Michelle.
Yes.
Who's always dressed to the nines, even when she's hiking. I've noticed.
Which I think she's doing right now.
Yeah. Hi, Michelle. And so she adds a layer of prestige and
Yes.
integrity to
Yeah,
your
not-
team.
You know
I'm the
how-
low life of the team.
No, you know how they refer to you guys as the good-looking agents.
Yeah.
They always say that.
Yeah.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I have no opinion.
No, they're awesome together. They complement each other, and
No, we've met
they get
Michelle.
tons of great reviews, and we do a lot of your closings, and
But it's
You
not
do?
'cause
all of
they-
our clients are
But it's
very
not because
happy.
they're good looking. It's because they
We actually know what we're doing.
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
What
That's
did we just
part of
say
it.
about the people in the boat? All right, so different story.
Now,
so,
John, you need,
Anyway, I want
I don't
to
think the 9-woman would work.
you
in one
need
of my
you
commercials.
need 8
No.
more women.
because you wouldn't be alive.
You need 8 more women walking around
In a boat.
and hiking in a boat. Yes.
all right, before I ask John all about what he's seeing in the market, Charlestown saying the most expensive market in the Suffolk County. Is that
course
good?
it
I've
is.
not seen my house.
$999,000 is the median listing price in
For
Charlestown
a
right
2-bedroom for one. How
It
big?
didn't say, but making the most expensive in the city.
Say.
I didn't know there's 22 cities in Suffolk County, but
what's a 3-unit building on Monument Ave go for?
John, what do you think?
Charlestown's not my forte.
I know.
3 plus,
I
3
know.
mil plus
Yeah.
for a rental. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in income.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I guess this is our segue. Since we've started this, is Make Me Move offer started at about 1.5 million.
Yeah.
It's up to about 3.5 million. What do we see in the market doing now?
So the market has slowed down some.
Okay.
It's a strong seller's market out there, but it definitely has slowed down from what we saw last year.
Because of the interest rates, probably.
Because of the interest rates, inventory slowly rising. There's some more options out there for buyers. But essentially, we're kind of back to what we were like before COVID.
3
hit.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a strong market back then.
It
was a good
was.
market.
Right,
But the
things
rates
just-
were like half of what they are now, right?
Yeah. I mean, back then it was a strong market, and then
All right, here's my theory with interest rates going up. Great time to buy, I think.
well, right now
My mother always, they always say, oh, I bought my house and it was
13%.
13%, but you bought it for $25,000 because a lot of people couldn't afford the 13%. So prices of houses don't go down, but interest rates do. So I think people jump in there now. I think rates eventually are going to come back down. So I think it's a great time to.
Well, there's a stat. I mean, and if you look at price history in Massachusetts, they tend to roughly double every 10 years,
Yep.
right? And even during that last huge, recession that we had, it took about 13 years
Yeah.
for prices to recover. So as long as you're in your house for a while, I mean, yeah, prices they're not going down.
Right.
And historically, rates are still low.
Right.
Right.
And there
They're
was
just not low as we've been used to for the last,
yeah,
five
exactly.
years,
I mean,
maybe?
when you hear things in the twos, it's,
Yeah. How did interest rates go from, 13, 14, 13 and change all the way down to 1? How does that happen? I mean, that's a big swing.
No, you're right.
What
You're right.
happened in the world?
Well, I think, yeah.
Who screwed up is what I want to know.
Everyone.
Somebody messed up somewhere.
Well, I think they got things under control. I mean, why did it go to 13 then down to 2?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
why is it going from 2 to now 6?
Right. But how does it get as high as 13 and then someone goes, that other
Right.
12%, we don't need that.
Yeah. Well, all the economic factors. We'll have to have some economists on here.
Yeah,
at some
that's a
point
tough
Do we know any
question.
of
that
them?
is a
on
No,
why
we don't
it
know
went
any of
down.
those.
So yeah,
Too confusing for us.
Right.
And the reason they kept, the fact that they kept them down so long. I mean,
Yeah.
when you think about it, since you
I
probably
actually
have been
think
doing it.
the real estate market kept us afloat during COVID.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean, real estate did have a huge impact on
on
the market, and
Right.
definitely did have a huge impact on
The
overall
financial
economy.
No one was
environment.
doing
Yeah.
anything, but people were refinancing like crazy. Took a little money out. They were buying their TVs, and they might not have been going on
Renovating their homes.
Renovating their homes.
Paying
people
off the
renovate-
IRS, things of that nature.
And then they were making some outdoor living, like the outdoor living thing came into play because they couldn't go out anywhere. So
Pools, all that,
Yeah.
all those things.
Now,
Yeah.
let me ask another semi-intelligent
Yeah.
question, which is, okay, interest rates go up.
Yeah.
prices go down.
Well,
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Because they might
we are still
plateau.
seeing the prices are still going to go up.
Experts
think-
predict that prices are still going to be going
Really?
up.
still go
Yeah.
or
And in
stabilize,
fact,
right?
And in fact, like if we look at recession history,
Yeah.
over the past 4 out of the last 6 recessions, home prices actually increased.
Wow, that's
So-
mind-boggling.
I mean, it might not be going up quite as much.
No,
as they
Maybe
have
not
been.
crazy, but they did.
and
but
then you're
yes.
not getting these crazy.
You're not getting the price
$50,000
war.
over.
Well, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask you for. What are you seeing lately when you're putting a house, when you're listing? Because I'm hearing some houses last year would have gone like that. I'm hearing, well, I'll give you an example. One broker was telling me they had 86 people go through the house, not one offer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it overpriced?
Well, that's what I was going to ask John, too.
So buyers are starting to get a little bit more picky, like they normally are,
Yeah.
compared to what they were
Right,
before.
a few years ago. This has just been an aberration the last 2 or 3 years.
they were just trying to get that
A couple
the
years
carrot,
ago,
right?
buyers overlooked everything.
Of course they did.
Right.
I mean,
Because of supply and demand.
it was just crazy. I mean,
If you wanted a house, you had to
You had
give
to
up.
jump.
You had to
Yes.
give up your mortgage financing clause. You had to
Your
give
had
your
to
home
give up
expenses,
everything.
Yep.
and then you had to let the seller stay in for a few years afterwards.
yeah, exactly.
That's a good deal.
Exactly. And these days, we go back to the same rule that we've always had, pretty much. That
Right,
if it's not
right.
priced right, if
Right.
it's not appealing to buyers, it's going to sit in the market.
Right. My
Right.
folks' old house that we
Yep.
sold
Yep.
5 years ago, 6
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago,
Yep.
something like that, is on the market.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, and again, and they had a open house over the weekend, and it's still listed. So I mean, I got to
Oh.
assume that there were no offers and nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
well, sometimes
Whereas normally
they-
that would have gone pretty
Normally.
quickly.
Pretty
No, but
quickly,
sometimes
yeah.
they cut off all the offers at Tuesday at 5, right?
Correct.
So you don't know.
Okay.
They could be collecting the
Depends
offers.
on how
and-
many days.
Right.
If it's been on the market, generally more than 10 days, you can kind of assume they probably don't have.
Yeah.
They don't have any offers. Okay.
Right.
Generally speaking.
Where are you
Yeah.
getting all these great questions, Tony?
I don't know.
It was,
I don't know.
it was great.
You know, this is how my mind works. There's nothing there, and then all of a sudden,
Tony.
hey, why don't I say this?
Yeah.
Tony,
Right.
And I might seem
don't
smart.
explain how your mind
It's,
works.
there's no explanation.
There's no
No.
explanation.
I have said this on the record. My mind is a dark place. When I'm not thinking, I grow mushrooms up there. But
Dark and damp.
Yes. But every now and again, these thoughts just pop into my head because I saw something.
You saw something.
I saw
right.
something. Yeah, that's all.
So one question I have for you, John, is are the interest rates being higher than they have been? Is that that's taken some buying power out of like first-time home
Oh, for
buyers?
sure.
And so, do you ever see the first-time home buyers having a chance to jump? If you're telling me the housing prices are going to continue to climb.
I think there's more opportunity out there now for first-time home buyers and buyers out there in general than what there were.
So tell me what the difference is.
So sure, I mean interest rates are higher, and for many people, it's like adding maybe a car payment onto their mortgage
Right.
payment, which definitely has an impact. And
Yeah.
and if they're pre-approved for a certain amount, then maybe now it's less.
Right.
However, you go back a year ago, and even for those 20% buyers out there, a lot of them didn't stand a chance to buy a house
because they were being outbid.
They were being outbid. They were being outbid by people that had cash to
Right.
either buy a home cash or waive an appraisal. So these days, if you're a 20% buyer or even less, maybe a 10% buyer, you finally have an opportunity. I mean, a lot of those people were sitting on the sidelines for
Right,
the
of
past
course. They
couple
were
years.
they were discouraged.
Yeah, so now they actually have an opportunity to buy a home. And for many people, most people buy a home because they have kids, like they have a growing family, whatever the case may be. And now they actually have an opportunity to go out and buy something.
So, but they might have to change their wants and needs,
That's correct.
right? They have to readjust. Maybe they're not getting 3 bathrooms. They're getting 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms as opposed to 5 bedrooms, or
That's correct. But on the flip side too, we saw homes get $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 over asking, and at those interest rates, it's like, well, what's the Well, throw them an extra $100,000.
It's
These
mind-boggling.
We're not doing that
We're
anymore.
not seeing that as much
Right.
anymore. So,
By the way, here's my first tip of the day.
Mm-hmm.
2 bathrooms and a bush out back. Same thing.
Especially if you have all boys.
Yes. Just as good as 3 bathrooms.
So you can call that 2.5 bath
2.5
house, right?
baths,
Okay.
right.
And you don't have to pay extra
Right.
$50,000 for that.
And there's
extra
less
bath.
maintenance on that,
Sure.
too,
Yeah,
right?
of course. You just have to trim
You've-
it up a little bit. And
You've heard that old saying, 1 in the hand, 2 in the bush. Works perfect.
So you brought up about mortgage insurance too. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for someone to buy with mortgage insurance too, because if prices keep going up,
then they can
right,
you get that removed.
Then they refinance
Exactly.
or they petition.
it's
the
when
bank.
you get mortgage insurance and prices are declining
Right.
is when you might
Well,
run
that's
into
what
a
happened
problem.
in the 2008
right,
era,
Right.
where
A lot of bad things happened.
Right.
people were doing the 100% financing, the 103%,
110, like
then
the
110%
the
financing.
reverse. What were those called? The
Negative.
negative AM.
Yeah.
1 month negative AMs were.
And a lot of what's happening today is nothing like what happened
Right, exactly.
back then.
But you know, it's
Is that because they put more regulations on it?
A
well,
little bit,
yes,
yeah.
yes, and the values are there.
and there's legitimately a supply and demand
Right.
issue that we have now that wasn't
Right.
around
Right.
back then as well too. I mean, there's just a lot of home buyers out there and just not enough homes for sale.
I tell you what, we've seen a couple of adjustable rates coming through our
That's all we
office.
see now.
We haven't seen an adjustable rate in how long?
But
Couple of years.
Most people figure, all right, most loans are only 7 to 10 years anyway. We're going to refinance, so
Or sell.
So might as well just get an
the
adjustable
low
rate.
rate.
Yeah, we're seeing those. I mean, and this is definitely a time to talk to a lender to find out what all those options are. And
Where
what
that
ones-
wasn't a question,
Yeah.
for the last
And an
several years.
adjustable rate is it goes up when the interest rate goes up.
Well, yeah, it can be adjusted every if it's a 5-1, it's fixed the
So what
very
they-
low
what
rate
they-
at 5.
There's some
Yeah. So what they
mathematical.
yeah.
Right. So what they do is they have a buffer in there. So you start off usually with a certain rate, but then they give you, it's always like 2% over whatever their margin is.
I see.
So if the margin's 3%, it goes to 5. So if interest rates go up,
Right.
so it's going to be 2 on 2,
Sure.
4, 6. But in the last 10 years, people were hitting home runs because the rates were coming down. So you add that 2 or 3%.
So they would go down.
They would go down. So
adjust
whoever
it
had
down.
an adjustable rate was hitting
Yeah,
home runs.
hitting a home run.
Right. So now on the other end, conversely with sellers, this is probably the time to sell too, because I think, as we were talking a little bit earlier, a lot of things that they've been in the driver's seat might not be there next year.
Sure. I mean, sellers still have leverage out there that they may not have come next year or 5 years.
So,
from now.
John, what do you see? I was going to ask you that. Are you going to see a flood of sellers throwing the house on the market because they don't want to miss this window?
I wouldn't call it a flood. I mean, we still have low inventory, and
Mm-hmm.
it's still not easy to buy a home these days.
Right.
But if you're comparing it to what it was last year, it's certainly a lot easier. Inventory levels are higher. There are sellers, a lot more sellers coming on the market now, trying
Mm-hmm.
to, take advantage of the leverage that they had. I mean, sellers last year were picking everything. I mean,
Right.
So
So what are some of the things they're picking?
So, it was common for sellers to not only essentially pick out their price of the home,
Yeah.
but then it was, well, we're not going to accept a home sale contingency. We're not going to accept
Of
a
course.
home inspection. And we don't care what the appraisal comes back at. We want our numbers.
This is what-
Oh, and by the way, we want to stay in our house for 2 weeks or a month after we close.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never seen so many use and occupancy
I
agreements.
know, and
Uh,
they do get convoluted because you need to get the final water bill for closing, right? Because you
Yep.
don't know what they're doing, right? And then you have to. Everyone gets confused on what needs to happen, and it does.
So it's a good point. When you guys are at the offer stage, as Kathy says, when it hits us, a lot of details aren't worked out yet.
Yeah.
And one big thing is how much do you escrow to do with that use and
Sure.
occupancy? So
And then what if they damage the house? I mean, this is all supposed to be addressed, but what if they do damage the house and we only have $2,000 as a holdback? You know
yeah,
what
we
I
had
mean?
one guy where it wasn't use and occupancy, just literally moving out, and the moving company just said we just must have fell asleep. It was about $7,000 worth of damage.
Ouch.
Moving out, they had grease on their wheels. I don't know. They and they
trashed
were
all the
trashed,
floors.
They're all over the floors and
Like new floors?
well, they're not
Yeah.
Well, they
brand
were-
new,
they
but
were,
like
through
through the
the
rugs
but-
and
yeah.
the hardwood floors and they were bumping in. I mean, it was almost like a.
It's almost like they did it on purpose.
I know,
What
I
do you,
know.
and what do you do in that case?
Well, as Kathy was saying, usually try to escrow money. If it's a use and occupancy, and I think we keep talking about, is like everyone knows what it is, but a use and occupancy is an agreement between the buyer and seller where the buyer allows the seller to stay in for X amount of days. It's not a tenancy agreement because
Right.
you don't want it as a landlord-tenant situation because you don't want to give that seller tenant rights, but it's called a use and occupancy agreement where you allow them to stay in for X amount of days afterwards there.
And just to back up, and then obviously the benefit of the seller is they get the cash for their home. They're sitting
Right.
on whatever
Right.
they sold their home
and
for,
they're not in a hurry to get out.
And they don't have to get
Exactly.
out.
Right.
And so when we're talking about all these like hiccups,
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
as
right.
an attorney, you know,
Right.
did you ever 5 years ago allow people to do
Never
all
allow
this,
that.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
use and
Right,
you know,
occupancy
right.
permits?
This whole situation seems like it's a guy named Bruno short of being loan sharking.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
this all seems like
Yeah.
to me.
It could
No, you're right.
be,
Like
yeah.
legal.
Yeah, because the sellers were definitely in charge of all the terms at this point.
And they also
Yeah.
could decide that they only wanted a cash buyer, right?
I mean, there were
If that was their best buyer.
cash offers made up about like 13% of the market.
Okay,
think it
I was wondering about
it was
that.
But there were a lot of offers out there that they would say, hey, we're going to give you this amount of money, and if it doesn't appraise, we don't care.
Right.
We'll make up the difference in cash.
Right.
And so even if it wasn't a cash offer, there were a lot of sellers that said, hey, you know,
Right.
I know my house isn't worth this amount of money, but we'll take their offer and
Right.
Right.
be happy with it.
So that's why it's very important for the buyer to talk to the lender beforehand.
Yes,
Say,
for
listen,
sure.
this might not appraise out. What do we do for a plan B? Because I'm obligated to buy this if the appraisal doesn't come out.
Right.
And
So-
an attorney
Well, they
to make
better have
sure
the money.
that
Yeah.
the language is correct in the purchase and sale.
Yeah.
Oh, the attorneys.
Oh, you got to have a good attorney. Jeez, are you
It all
kidding
comes
me?
full circle.
It
Do you
really
know anyone
does.
offhand?
You go to
Listen,
Carter Law.
I googled real estate lawyer Redding,
Yeah.
and what did John say? You came up as number one.
I dominate Reading, I got to tell you.
Sure.
Number one.
Who else is there?
He always wanted to be number one
He's
in the
Redding's
in the
go-to.
Google.
Yeah, who else is there? You
No.
should have your name on buses.
What'd you say when the brokers are giving me good reviews the other day at this seminar? You said,
Oh my God, it was like they were talking about Jesus.
I know. You said,
I got
could
this.
just-
Why don't you just go walk across the harbor?
Okay, there goes this Rick.
Take his
And I
note.
said that'd
Bye.
be so easy to do the greasy pole.
Which they did last week.
They did. Is that awesome
Yeah,
or what?
yeah.
Oh
Do
yeah.
you know? I heard if the winner of the greasy pole
Yeah.
gets carried around the town. This is what some lady said on the radio.
Right.
And people dump beer over their head.
Well, that's
That's the winner?
That's any party
That's what I was just thinking.
The winner.
What happens if you lose?
I'm like, I would want a little bit more than that.
You get thrown in a corner and kicked.
I'm like, wow, that's the.
Don't minimize.
This
That's a
is-
huge event.
I know,
there
but
in
why
Gloucester.
would I want to try to stay on a greasy pole to get carried
Picture
around town?
Kathy in the greasy pole.
Hey.
whoa, whoa,
Could
whoa,
we-
whoa,
could we-
whoa!
How's my hair
How's
look?
that? Oh,
Am I gonna hurt a nail?
Is this
I don't
nailed?
think anyone's cleaned this pole in about 35 years.
It's pretty slippery here. What's this all
Can you
about?
guys help me out here?
Whoa! If I fall back, can someone help me?
Shut up, Rick.
Sorry. Was that last one too much?
No.
All right. So yeah, the greasy pole's huge in Gloucester. Just great weekend there. So
The
How did
greasy
we-
pole, also a bad bar.
is it really?
Yeah. There's a place called the Greasy Pole.
What's the bar that you filmed Coda in? You were the bartender. What was the name of that place?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my God, you don't know that?
No.
Oh.
It was an Irish guy's name, oddly enough.
That
I don't
is
know
strange.
if it's coincidence.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. I thought it was
Did you know Toady was in Coda, the award-winning Coda movie?
And he got like an Academy Award.
I didn't get
Well,
an
it was-
Academy
it was
Award.
a quite-
Screen
something-
Actors Guild Award.
Oh, Screen Actors Guild, and they mailed it to him.
Yeah.
And they
Someone
came-
nailed him.
And it came all,
I think it went through the harbor.
Wrinkled
Speaking of the
and-
harbor.
but it was an award nonetheless.
award.
Yeah,
It's an
I
award.
didn't get a
We'll
Screen
never get
Actors
one of
Guild.
those.
No.
No, we might get one for our portrayal at Fenway Park when we knock it dead when we introduce you.
Yeah, when you're introducing me.
Did you say we?
Yeah, we say I give you. Because I know there's no chance of me getting up there, so I might as well bring you along with me. I'm telling you, he says he's had a lot of people applying.
About 100.
I thought that me and Rick were top on the list.
We're in
we're in the running.
You're on the short list.
Yeah, that's good, right? The short.
Yeah.
Good.
What are we, 99 and 100?
So there is a chance.
Well, you know what? We don't take no lightly.
A lot of people don't know this, but you have to enter the stage at Fenway on a greasy pole.
Or I could do cartwheels.
Oh, now you just moved up.
I better practice. It's like Tony knows how to drive a bus. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to see my license?
All right, so back to John. Well, he's got very valuable information.
I know,
for us.
and he's so smart.
He's very smart. So what should we?
And good looking.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, absolutely. So what should we be coaching what do we tell ourselves now? Because now they're used to their neighbors last year getting $80,000 over, 100 offers on their house. They're expecting the same thing happen. Do they realize what's going on now?
Well, they may not be realizing what's going on, and
Right.
certainly there were some sellers out there that didn't realize what was happening last year either.
Right.
Believe it or not. But
Right.
prep is always important. Because
So it's
the
even
home has
more
to-
important now. It's got to look very good.
I mean, it has to be appealing buyers.
It's
right?
got to be
So,
moving.
like-
Is that true? It has to be almost moving condition now, or not?
It almost has to be better than moving conditions
Yeah.
these days. I mean,
Okay.
buyers don't want to do the work. They can't find contractors to do the work
That's
because they're
true.
all busy.
Right, and
Right,
the price of lumber and everything.
So
So if someone comes to you and says, "What repairs should I do to get this thing going in this market?" which might not have been the same last year, but do you tell them, you got to do the landscaping, you got to do painting?
Yeah, I mean, we're always coming up with, when we work with our sellers to make sure like we're all on the same page, but we're working with our sellers to figure out which things are going to net them the most amount of money and make the sale go through a lot easier. And then the whole second part of all of that is pricing, because these days if you price it too high, it could sit on the market, and if it's
Right.
priced too low and you
Then
don't
you
get
might
the
only
multiple
get that
offers,
one offer.
you may not get $50,000 over
Right.
asking.
Right.
So pricing is critical today.
Right.
And it usually is. Over the past couple of
Now,
years.
how do you price it now, though? Because you're basing it on what happened
Last
6
year,
months and a year ago.
Yeah, within the year.
How do
So
you
pricing
do
has
that?
always been like, appraiser looks back 6 months and they look at what's sold. So these days we have to really take a look at what's sold, but then what are the homes that are actually going under agreement right now? What were they listed at? And then what's on the market right now, right here and now? Because buyers aren't looking at what's sold last year. They're looking at, hey, what's on the market today?
Right. So it's a very fluid
Yes,
situation.
it's a combination of what's sold, what's under agreement, and what's active today.
My man Mike Flynn says he found something in your neighborhood that's might be going under agreement. Is there something selling in your area for like $3 million?
Yeah. Yeah, right down the street. I mean, I think something on Monument Ave went for some ridiculous.
But you know what I'm noticing? Like the house is at $1.5 million. I was looking at one today that we're working on. It's not updated at all. Like
That's why it's not being sold for $2.2 million.
I know, but like if
Is
I'm
that
spending,
range selling now? The 1.5s?
The 1.5 and over is a
is a tricky one.
tougher price range.
Depending on the
But
city.
if
Depending on the city, yes.
but if
No,
I was buying
yeah.
a house for $1.5 million, I'm looking for the most gorgeous kitchen, right? A $1.5 million house. Just think about it. Like just in other times, I know that it's not reality.
Yeah, and everything's
but-
kind of relative, right? So, like, I mean, we've had a lot of buyers come to us, over the past couple of years, spending over $1 million. Sometimes
and
thinking
getting
that,
a ranch, right? A
well,
ranch in Reading.
Sometimes they think they're buying the Taj Mahal, and it's prices in
just-
Boston.
$1 million seems like a lot of money.
I think
it is a lot of money.
I think $500,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean it is, but you would think that here's the question: is there a point? I can't believe I'm coming up with three. Good
I know.
questions.
This is humble.
I'm actually in shock.
Yeah, I didn't have enough coffee.
Or too much.
Is there
Right.
like how much over? Is there a break-even point where because once you get more money, that all gets divvied up by everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like the the realtor takes some, and
Yeah.
the other realtor takes some, and
Yeah.
then the bank and is there a cutoff point that going over it that is not?
Well, that's a good point.
Like,
'cause-
how much do you have to make an extra 20 grand?
All right, related to that one, which is a good point.
Right.
Some sellers say, I owe this, this, and this, so my house is worth this. I don't think it works that way.
Well, it definitely doesn't
No,
work that
no.
way.
Yeah.
We know that. I'm not a real estate agent,
I know,
and
but
I know that.
Oh, this is what happened in the shorts, whatever. But I owe, cousin Vinny X amount of dollars, and they go through this litany of different variables of why their house, they need X amount of dollars. But that's not
What
That's
you need
irrelevant.
versus what your home is worth are two completely separate things.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Sure.
right. So to your point, I
Yeah.
mean, the costs,
So, like, if you
costs
taken,
aren't that bad.
No, but if you get and say let's say $50,000 over asking.
Yep.
How much does the seller
Out of that
realize
50,000?
Yeah.
So you lose probably 5%, which would go to the brokers, right?
Somewhere around that
Yeah,
that number.
I
So the
mean-
higher it sells, the more money the seller gets.
Right.
Right. All right.
Yeah. You might lose a little capital gains.
It's not
It's not.
anything to talk about. Like
Right.
it's not. It's not.
nothing.
That's what I try to
Yeah.
Like,
do.
it's not worth.
So
Yeah.
that's
For
what I
sure.
try to tell people. So your biggest
Oh, I don't really
problem is-
want the $50,000
Right, right,
extra
right,
minus.
No, it's
the
true.
fees.
I
No.
tell people, so your biggest problem is you're selling it for more than you're
Right.
expecting.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was a,
because
like-
you're trying to calculate yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't have an appraisal done when you got your HELOC loan?
No,
did
they just gave me money.
you? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So Tony just went in got a HELOC. It's very impressive.
Yes.
So.
Very impressed. I signed
did it all
papers.
by himself.
I signed papers like nobody's.
And you said, "I know what all of this
I-
means."
I had no idea what I was signing.
You tell them I know about
Don't tell
balloon
anyone.
payments, negative amortization,
I
prepayment.
told them the whole thing.
Did you say, do I have a prepayment penalty on this
I
loan
made
or
them
not?
listen to this show before.
Do you know who I am? I'm a real estate guru.
All right, so we're running out of minutes, but you're going to tell your sellers probably a good time to sell still is now.
It's a great time to sell. They still have
haven't
a ton of
lost the
leverage.
market, right?
Yes. The prices are still high.
Prices are still high.
So they haven't really lost anything
They might
outside
not-
of
they
maybe
might
the
not-
bidding wars.
Yes.
They might
and,
not get
and the
the-
amount of offers has gone
Yeah.
down, but you can only accept one.
Right.
Right. But the amount of offers was astronomically high, right? Like
But
just
so
not
that-
even,
totally not
as
sustainable.
you
Yeah.
were saying earlier, the key is now on you. Make sure you have it priced right?
Priced right
because
is
I think,
so important.
I think what you said before was, when we were chatting earlier, was you could get away if you I know one house that was, I know I'm not a broker, but it was priced about $200,000 less than I thought it was worth. But the market corrected that.
Correct.
Because people kept bidding it up, and they got the 1.1 million. I was surprised it went on for 900,000. I said, it's well worth more than that. But the market corrected it because of it. But
well,
you're saying
the
now,
demand.
These days,
now you gotta
pricing
be-
it low could cost you money.
Yeah.
And pricing it high could cost
because you
you
might
money.
only
Right.
get that one offer on that 900,000.
So that's
That's
why they
correct.
should call you, John, right?
That's correct.
And ask for Michelle.
And as for me,
Michelle's out hiking.
I know. I said I want to be Michelle Ternullo when I grow up.
And buyers, you're probably telling them, get off the sidelines as well.
get off the sidelines now. Prices aren't going down anytime soon.
Right,
a lot of
right.
buyers are hoping and wishing that prices are going to go down.
They should go get a new pre-approval letter, right?
They should definitely go get a new pre-approval letter because, obviously
Things
interest
are gonna
rates have changed.
change.
Yep. And
they
they should
should-
really
I'm sorry,
get
go ahead.
back in there and start looking, if they were
And they
on the
definitely have to
sidelines for a
talk to their
while.
mortgage lender about a plan B if they have to waive some of the appraisal or.
Or talk to the mortgage lender about their different options.
That's correct.
For the price of the house that they still
Right.
want with a
Right.
different interest rate.
That's correct.
And
So-
hopefully most people are selling and getting cash out of it because a lot of people, I do wonder about this one. You have a house right now at 2.5%, and you're selling that house for 2.5%.
Where do you go?
And then you're going to buy something else for for a loan at 6%.
Well, that's our problem in Charlestown.
Where are you gonna go?
say these numbers, but
Right.
that's where I want to live.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to.
Right. So think about that. You sell your house for $3 million.
Right.
But then you have to buy another house and maybe take out a $700,000 mortgage.
Right.
So that's $700,000.
Right. It's kind of a
Plus what
dicey
you
dicey
owe. Yeah.
situation.
Right.
So
Right. Right. I know.
And it's
So-
always moving, so you don't know. I mean, if we all had crystal balls and knew where we were going to be next year, we'd all be very rich people, right?
Sure. I mean, but it all depends on what's, why does that person want to move?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to move.
Okay.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
my next move is to a motorhome.
You think so?
And
Yeah.
you'll have plenty of money to buy a motorhome.
Yeah. I'm
out-
gonna buy a very well-appointed motorhome.
Yeah, and you
And
could
live in
afford
it.
a driver too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm seeing lately? Motorized surfboards and motorized bikes. It's almost like
The
kinda
electric bike.
defeats-
I've seen the
Electric bike's gonna
I
be
It
haven't
the
been
defeats
big.
the purpose, doesn't it?
I know, it's
If I
almost
had
like
one to keep one, I would get one.
you
Yeah,
do-
for short hops around with
Yeah.
gas the way they sure.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just bike on a bike?
What are you mad?
Yes. What am
are
I
you, a
crazy?
crazy lady?
Yes, I am.
Jeez. What,
I've
do you
been
want to
called-
exercise? He wants to get somewhere.
I've been called crazy
They
He
before.
doesn't want to
Tony.
They
sweat
still
about
have-
it.
They still
Jesus.
have pedals. You could pretend you were pedaling.
Well, that's what this one guy. We see a guy at Rockport.
Yeah.
He
And he
does
looks like
pretend.
he's so
He looks
cool.
like he's he pretends he's like pedaling. I go, I see the motor.
No,
on
I know.
there, you know?
I don't mean he looks cool. He thinks he's cool.
He definitely thinks he's cool. He goes back and forth. I know, but
All right, we're over.
oh, we're over. All right.
Thanks,
one
John.
one tip.
Thank
we all
you.
got to give tips. One tip is don't stay on the sidelines.
It's
things
time
are
to
gonna-
come back out first
Time to
time
come back
home.
out.
They are
Flyers.
saying prices are going to go up for still another year.
You want to give your contact information?
617-275-3379 and visit us at TernulloRealEstate.com.
Awesome. I hope you come back.
Thanks.
And my tip,
Yep.
if you're selling the house,
Yep.
make sure it's yours.
Yes, that's a good tip.
Thank you, Tony V. Thanks for joining us here.
And my tip? Want my tip?
Yeah, definitely.
Wear sunscreen this weekend. It's gonna be hot and sunny.
I like that. Thanks for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.